looking back in hindsight, I'm really glad that I had the amount of savings and liquidity set aside for my first deal that I did, because the amount of capital out at first to get the project going, like the amount of money that the contractors expect and the amount of money you need for the materials, the amount of money to like really get the velocity that you want in order to like close quickly from start to finish, that amount of money was more than I thought.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil. Today, I'm joined by someone that I'm looking forward to chat with, Aubrey Kozer, who is a hard money lender, as well as a real estate investor in the Austin area. So excited to have you here today, Aubrey.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to being a part of the podcast. I've listened to some episodes and there's been some great folks on the podcast with a lot of knowledge to share. So hopefully someone will get some tidbits out of this from what I have in both avenues that I'm working on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited for you to share what you know. Let's dive in.
Thanks.
First off, for those not familiar with you and your world yet, can you share what your main focus is these days?
Yeah, for sure. So, a majority of my time is spent with my W-2. I'm a part of a hard money nationwide lender that's based out of Austin, Texas. So, if you're not familiar with hard money, I'd imagine most people are. We do bridge financing for acquisitions that help people flip homes, do ground up construction and development. And then we also have like a long-term rental product. So, my role right now is on the sales and financing side. I'm a loan officer helping connect our investors to our capital with like the right products so that they can scale. And then in my freer time, if you will, I'm also actively using that product to be flipping homes here in Austin, Texas. So if I'm not flinging and writing loans, I'm using loans to help acquire properties and generate income in another way.
Yeah, amazing. That is exciting. So, how did you get started in investing? What did that look like?
Yeah, so the way that I got into the real estate realm as a whole is actually like a pretty is a pretty organic story. So I was in between jobs. I had moved to Austin to kind of work in a marketing role, and one job ended, was in between things, and I'm big into beach volleyball, love that, and was coaching as kind of like a side passion of mine. And I was like, man, I really got to get back into the swing of things and get a big girl job and, pay my bills here because Austin ain't cheap. And one of the adults that I was coaching through this adult beach volleyball training program was like, it sounds like you do need something steady. You should come apply for a job here. And I was like, what exactly do y'all do? And he like tried to describe at like a really high level what hard money financing was, but I didn't grow up around investing. My parents are like incredibly risk adverse. So like You couldn't find a person who knew less about real estate than probably I did when I started.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So he was like, oh, just come interview and see what you think. So I walk in and I tell them a little bit about me and kind of my educational background. I was a biomedical engineer, and they were like, okay, that's cool. She's probably a little smart. And I go through the interview process and they're like, okay, you're hired. I'm like, still don't really know what exactly I'm hired for. Find out it's a sales role, and we're in real estate and we're selling loans, and you just kind of go through the training protocol. And then before you know it, you're making cold calls, and I'm on the phone and they're like, I got a property that I'm looking to get some equity out of. And I'm like, what do you mean you already own it? Like, truly not even understanding that you could like refinance a property. Like, that is how green I was. Fortunately, that didn't last very long because I landed by truly accident a big corporate account that like fell into my lap. I took the call and I got a ton of loan volume going at one time. And then I got incredibly well versed in how a transaction was made, looked at so many appraisals, learned the ins and outs about our process, really got to see every transaction from start to finish at a few hundred times. So that closed the learning gap pretty quickly for me. And now I'm 3 years into this space and I can't imagine not being in it any longer. I think that everyone should be involved in real estate in some way, shape, or form, particularly in the investing realm. Because whether it's, you're making passive income or you've bought an asset that you could pass along to your family, I think there's just infinite potential and opportunity here.
Yeah, amazing. I love how you were just thrown into this world and made it work.
Yeah, I truly had no idea. I was a fish out of water at first, for sure.
I hear that. Awesome. And so, how did you then create your own first investment? Like, did you learn from like your job, or was that like a whole new world where you're like having to start fresh again?
Yeah, a little bit of starting fresh because like you can see it, but until you're like I learned best by doing something. So I think once you like pull the trigger and you're like, "Oh, I have to wire like $70,000 to the title company. Here I go," and then, "Oh, this is what signing a closing package looks like." And, "Oh, we're now at the house and we're doing demo." And like, "Oh, we didn't expect there to be cast iron plumbing in the floor." Like there's no substitute for just doing the thing. So it did start pretty green in the same way, but fortunately, here at my W-2 at HouseMax, there was another loan officer that was incredibly well-versed in new construction. She does a bunch of stuff in New Mexico. She also had been flipping homes in Austin. When she parted from the company, I like jokingly said off the cuff, like, "Well, I've got some money I'd like to put to work, and I think you have the wherewithal. Like, what if we just partnered up?" And she immediately took me up on that offer, and she was like, "Well, I'm leaving, and I've got to do something, so I'm gonna go back to flipping homes." So it kind of just became this match made in heaven where I could learn from somebody who already had walked the walk like hundreds of times, and it gave me the peace of mind that I didn't have to be on site every day, but I could still have all the benefits of like learning how the sausage is made, for lack of a better term. So, um, and obviously I'm only I just got my fourth one under contract, so there's still so much to be learned, to learn and to grow in, but it happened in a really good organic way.
Awesome. What are some of like the main obstacles or challenges that you face that now looking back, you can see the lesson on them?
Mm. Um, that's a good question. My first flip did go incredibly well. Like the construction went really quick. We did list during the holidays, which was a perceived challenge, but the product I think was so good that it moved really quickly. But
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
looking back in hindsight, I'm really glad that I had the amount of savings and liquidity set aside for my first deal that I did, because the amount of capital out at first to get the project going, like the amount of money that the contractors expect and the amount of money you need for the materials, the amount of money to like really get the velocity that you want in order to like close quickly from start to finish, that amount of money was more than I thought. And I'm glad that it's money that I actually had because, I look at loans all the time and sometimes investors are like barely meet the liquidity requirement. And now being a practitioner, it makes me a little nervous. I'm like, what if the contractor's like, I want 50% of the funds like today? Like, do you have it? Or is it going to slow down your project? Or like, in my instance, there was cast iron plumbing and we thought we were going to be able to tie in. It all needed replaced. Um, and if we didn't have it allocated in our budget, I just would have been out 15 grand or whatever it was going to cost. So I think the liquidity piece as a challenge and like a cautionary tale, like it didn't burn me in this particular instance, but it is something I'm going to be mindful of as I continue to scale and move from like one project to multiple at a time, just keeping that in mind. Especially with an unpredictable market, you don't want to find yourself in a really tough spot that you got to crawl your way out of.
Definitely. That makes a lot of sense and something to watch out for.
Yeah.
What are some of the main keys that you feel make the biggest difference in allowing your business to be able to grow and to run smoothly?
Um, I would really say that that's talent on the team. I think if you've got the right people in the right seat on the bus, that allows you to stay in your zone of genius and like continue to grow the business effectively. So, like with me picking a partner who knew the ins and outs of flipping, it ensured that I could stay locked in my W-2, which makes me money in order to do the thing. And it wasn't like I needed to go to the project every day, jeopardize what I do here at HouseMax, and like put kind of the whole operation at risk. So I think to really choose your team wisely. And also, I think being willing to pay and compensate that person for what they bring to the table. I mean, I think with any business as you grow, it becomes like, oh my gosh, do I have enough money to like hire said individual? Or like, what am I losing as I hire them? I think it's more like you got to think about the upside. Like, what could they make you? And like, what growth could you produce by having that person there as opposed to not having that person there? And like, what's the opportunity cost if you don't? So I think it comes back to personnel would be the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that so often I hear that the people and the team are harder than the real estate itself.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you hear, like, a lot of horror stories of, like, how it could slow down an operation and really make it harder for the whole group as opposed to easier, so I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What are you most focusing on solving or scaling to next?
Um, solving and scaling. This year in 2026, I had in my mind as a metric to do 6 flips, for no other reason than I wanted to assign, like, a specific number to it. I also want to do a true like burr from start to finish. So buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat type system in probably an outskirt of an Austin market since prices might not support doing that fully like in the, kind of major metro, but certainly in the outskirts you can swing it. So I want to do that for a few reasons, like to try to use that as a tax strategy to have the appreciation, really get a holistic look at investing. And then obviously it's an asset that you could potentially pass on if you hold it that long. So incorporating that, and then the other side of my business with the lending, I really want to focus on high level operators at higher loan amounts. And that's not to say that I won't do deals that are smaller. I always say there's no small loans, there's only small actors. But sometimes the headaches that occur with a $100,000 loan, you see the same or maybe less with like $1 million loan. So just kind of rethinking my business and rethinking about what I'm bringing to the team and why, and like what revenue looks like, and who we're working with, and just trying to keep in mind, just like we talked about the team, like who am I bringing in and what's the overall lift of loan and that individual as we bring them into House Max as a partner.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, definitely. That's important.
Mhm.
And so when you're doing lending, are there any sort of like common misconceptions that you have to clear up for the investors?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Michelle. I think hard money kind of gets this like slightly predatory connotation, and I think some of that comes from like maybe even years before I started working in hard money. I think that there was some stuff that like rates at 12 or 14% and like terms always changing. But I think this industry is evolving and evolving incredibly quick as like insurance companies and Wall Street gets involved and like big bank money also wants to participate, that it's becoming a bit more regulated. And honestly, I think that leverage is such a tool for investors that, as they're talking to me, I'm trying to explain that like cash is king. And I'm like, you never know. Like it could be another COVID tomorrow. Like I would not want all of my money tied up in a single deal because you just never know. Like you might need that money. So to use somebody else's leverage to have, only 10 or 20% in a deal, to me feels a whole lot better than buying an asset, let's say here in Austin, for example, where $600,000 of my money is just sitting in this house until I'm done. So I think the misconception is that, hard money is scary when in actuality, like taking out loans, I was like, man, this was almost too easy. Like, what's the catch? And there really isn't, as long as you're making your payments, and doing the things you're supposed to be doing as a consumer. Um, and then, a holistic look at DSCR, because I think people forget that you can do like this rental loan with us that like doesn't report to your credit, or they don't even know that that exists. And that's a huge value add too, because people's debt to income sometimes gets threatened by the number of properties that they're taking out. So knowing that that's a resource too is like can be a bit eye-opening to people. So those are kind of some of the common misconceptions. And I think just being really transparent about like what the fees are and why they're there and like how we make money makes everybody feel like they understand the process a little better. Um, and just like anything, transparency really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important to get
Hmm.
clear on the numbers, how it works, and having that transparency.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Awesome. So, what are maybe some tips you would give to? I mean, I know you're also a newer investor, but maybe someone that's like never done any investing.
Yeah. I would say, um, I think a good rule of thumb, if you're looking to do something like a flip, you kind of want to have $30,000 for every $100,000 worth of a deal. I think is a good, really safe metric to assume. So if you're doing a $100,000 purchase, you want to have like 30K set aside. If you're doing like a $200,000 purchase, you want to have about 60K set aside. And again, that might be a little bit generous, but again, with like the contractors and like how much capital you have to have out the door for construction, I'd rather put somebody in a really safe position than not. So if you're new, just be thinking about that. And if you're like, oh man, I really don't have that much money, it doesn't take very much to find like private money, like your friends and your family who've always wanted to get into real estate. You'd be surprised. Sometimes, they look at a deal and you might be able to explain the high level of why there's an upside. They might give you money. Like at this point, it's funny. I've had like people call from like other parts of the company saying like, or other parts of the country saying, hey, I see what you're doing with flips. Like, I want to give you money. And it's like, I'm not even that seasoned in this, but I appreciate the sentiment. So I feel like if I can do that, then certainly like newer investors could also talk to, parents, grandparents, sisters, siblings, obviously in all a safe way because you want it to work out for everybody. But I don't think you need that much liquidity. In actuality, you just need to be thoughtful about what's the deal size, where are you going to get it, and is it ready to go when the deal's ready to go?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for like those concrete numbers. I think that can be really helpful for people.
Good. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that like you want to continue with the flips, but are there any other like asset classes or investment strategies that you're looking to get into?
That's a good question. I think for now I'm gonna focus on single family asset class. That's not to say that I don't think there's opportunity in like I think there's a ton of opportunity in the 1 to 4 space, and it seems very like palpable and like I can understand it at the level that I've seen it be originated. I just think like single family strategy, you can get to the same end. Um, but again, like I don't know what I don't know. We're only really like a 1 to 8 unit shop here at HouseMax, so I only have like limited exposure. I certainly know about like syndications and other like apartment deals, and that's not to say I would never say never. It's more that like I want to continue to refine this kind of 1 to 4 unit space first. And particularly since I haven't done anything in the rental space, I think just to have like some single families and assign, a property manager to it is probably the way that I'm going to approach it and see, what kind of headaches exist, like how good is the PM, and then scale from there, and then maybe add like the duplexes, the triplexes. We'll see. But for now, single family rental will be the next asset class that I add on top of just the flipping that I'm doing in Austin.
Amazing. That's exciting.
Thanks.
Well, before we wrap up here, if somebody wants to reach out, connect, learn more about what you're up to, where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, I think I am on most major mainstream platforms. So you can find me on Instagram. It's just my first and my last name. It's Aubrey Kozer. Then you can find me on HouseMax Funding is our online website where I work. I've got a direct line. I guess I can give it. It's 737-355-9503. So if you just want to shoot me a text, if you've got some scenarios or even just want advice of like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this in the foreseeable future, that would be a great place to start. And you can also find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, appreciate your time and your story. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks for giving opportunities for like up and coming investors to kind of share what we're learning and seeing. It's a great platform, and um, we're grateful to be a part and be a part of the learning story with everybody else.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yeah. And for the listeners that are tuning in, if you got value, make sure you have subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Aubrey who are building real businesses, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.